All right, we made it. Hey everyone, this is Guillaume. I'm here with Brendan from the Panoptic team. This is the time of the week where we go over the best and worst trades or traders on Panoptic. This is an exciting week because we're wrapping up the 2 week competition. It ends on Monday, but we do have some clear contenders for the best traders and some others that maybe less fortunately be on the bottom of the ranking. But at the end of the day, we do want to have this being an update for those people that want to know more about know more about options trading, about Panoptic. I'm here with Brendan from the research team. So how are you, Brendan?
Doing well. Happy Friday. And there's been a couple things on the news that we can cover before we jump into the base trading contest. So stay tuned. But we will have one of the top traders on the leaderboard come in to this live stream and talk to us about how they were thinking about the trades that they put in and what they're thinking going forward. So maybe some alpha there. But real quick, we'll just cover the fluid situation going on. So maybe you can describe to us a little bit about what is going on with fluid and what is fluid and what's happening there.
Yeah, so Fluid is an AMM. I love AMMs again from Uniswap V2, V1, V2 to V3. Fluid is a slightly different, somewhat similar to Uniswap V3. You have considered range. It's the team that was behind Instadapp, so lots of kind of street creds in terms of development. They have a lending protocol match mixed with a AMM, so you can get some capital efficiency. They came in maybe under the spotlight over the past few days because they are managing a strategy for most of their trades are correlated assets, stablecoin, stake ETH. So all of those are fairly predictable and easier to manage. They have one pool which is ETH USDC. They're on mainnet. They are kind of trying to get market share from Uniswap, but some people did some analysis, and unfortunately, since it's launched, it seems like the LPs or those that were deploying liquidity might have been losing money again. And this is kind of the big issue is that if you manage someone's money, you have to disclose the risks. You have to make the best efforts. But some people felt like the team was not upfront, so I also jumped in a little bit. But at the end of the day, the strategy that they were implementing was very difficult to pull off in the bear market. Price going down from 4,000 to 1,500 definitely hurts every holder, every even the lending protocol. Your net worth goes down because the ETH price of your collateral goes down. In that case, if it's an LP position, if it's not necessarily hedged, probably it is also going to be harder to manage. So the losses were there. I would say they were probably less in terms of magnitude than if people just LP themselves, maybe. So there was some level of kind of mitigating some certain circumstances, but the whole debate was about they lost money for their users. Some users were either not unhappy about it or did not know, and then again, crypto Twitter went over and then kind of pushed this in all different directions. But yeah, I don't know. You're less familiar with Fluid, but yeah, does that cover it again from your sense, Brendan?
So yeah, I was just curious as far as losses. These are what kind of losses? Like impermanent loss versus rebalancing,
Oh,
markout, absolute loss.
yeah. So I don't know if people look at the real actual losses because people put some money in, they may have less out. A lot of folks were looking at markouts, which is kind of this efficiency of market making metric, which is fine, but then it's a little bit less concrete than if people look. Okay, someone deposited 1 ETH and I don't know 4,000 USDC in January. How much money do they have now? So I'd say that the figures floating around was that up to $19 million worth of losses on maybe a couple hundred million of TVL. But yeah, I would have to look carefully. Some people use markouts maybe a bit too much to paint a what looks like a bad picture in terms of the efficiency of that pool. But yes, I would say that the most accurate metric is deposit some funds. How much do you have left after that huge collapse in price, regardless of the details? Was that?
The IRS metric, the one that the tax man sees.
I'm a simple guy. Yeah. When the IRS wants me to pay my taxes, I have to know, is it really making me money or losing money? Not in expectation, but in reality. So yeah.
Well, awesome. Thanks for covering that fluid situation going on. We'll see things settle down, or what the Fluid team responds from.
Shout out someone. We may be meeting with them, but yeah, the team again. One of my posts is that an LP position is inherently bullish. You make money if the price goes up. If you don't necessarily kind of internalize that risk on the downside, you're going to be exposed quite badly. So either a hedge or even a outright kind of static data hedge would have been better for sure. They have a lending component, linear protocol component to their protocol, so they could have implemented something like that. But yeah, that's my kind of my shtick. What I've been proclaiming all these years is that LP positions are, in a weird way, a lot like covered calls, and any covered call holder, could be GameStop or S&P 500, will get exposed to the downside. So that's kind of the nature of the beast. So, but yeah, we'll see.
Yes, I mean, and that's a perfect transition here to our bullish LP positions that have been doing very well on base in the last 2 weeks. As you know, ETH price has rebounded, even though it started at 4,000 many months ago. It was starting at around 1,500 at this contest start 2 weeks ago, and it's now, what is the ETH price now? Let's see,
2,600, and I'm actually in raw. I would have to look, because if someone just deposits ETH, they are automatically gaining, I don't know, 20, 25% maybe. If they have some USDC as co-collateral, they may have less. And that's kind of one mitigating scenario. But I would say that anyone that is 20% plus has done some trading activity that was apt and beneficial. And kind of, again, the 156% is definitely the best one, because we know the trade. But yeah, there's a baseline maybe. But yeah, those that are losing the most. And if you scroll down, maybe it's not just that they're missing out because they didn't have ETH exposure, but rather they probably traded somewhat badly and made them lose. So that's another, without kind of like putting anyone on the spot. But yeah, the losers were of their own making, and the winners had some help because of the price action.
Well, yes. Tell us about Guillaume Lambert.
Oh, am I still there? Yeah. Can you look at the?
You're up in the green now, so that's good.
There we go. You click for 1 second. We can look at my portfolio. I think I was neutral in nature, because this is what I do, and I was depositing tiny bit more ETH, I believe. But what I was doing is to be harvesting yield. And if you go down, I think my two positions are two straddles, which are at the money. No, yeah, show the open positions. Two out of the money, two at the money straddles, which earn fees. This is kind of the payoff, but I always seek yield here. I'm selling options. I'm earning 1.3x on the first one, 1.09x on the second one. And if you click on the ETH, like 0.36, the delta column, I can switch. But I would assume this is still not the one number in the column. Go down.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. Click. So yeah, this is still pretty. See, this is the percent delta, but this is neutral, close to zero. This is 2 days ago, but the present move. So this is my strategy, and it earns a little bit. In that case, a few percent per day. So that's why I'm maybe in the middle. I did not try to be directional. I just try to harvest yield at this 30% premium extra. So that's kind of the way I'm not losing, but I'm not gaining much. But if I were to do this for years, then yeah, maybe I'll be ahead of these kind of maybe more lucky strikes of the swing traders.
That's right. When you bet directional, you have to be right. So,
and then exactly. And if you look at my transactions, I think I probably also made a bit of money and lost a bit of money from the those that I closed. If you go up to the transactions, but I think I'm not worried about not making money, because I'm getting paid for this. So that's kind of the way I see this. So yeah, last 50. Oh, there we go. But yeah. I would say that the whole exercise was in being data neutral. Price moving up definitely did not help. In that case, I have a straddle and a call spread that went the wrong way, so that's fine. But yeah,
definitely a lot of volatility lately.
And maybe we can hop right. Yeah, if we look to the standing, I think we covered the first one, which was buying call options, and I'm not sure they've done anything. Second one has, I think, also been directional for sure. But Steve Flanagan, and I think it might be a good time to bring him on, but he's from the head of engineering from the team. He's top 3 definitely kind of worth his position there and hasty. So we've had a few live streams, but in your case, how do you feel about being third place? And maybe can you tell us about your experience?
Yeah, I mean, I'm psyched, right? It's awesome to be on the podium. I'd love to pass two more people if I can, but it's been a great experience. So I opened this position initially, actually just to test, as part of our engineering process, making sure that base compatibility was up and running. Obviously, I chose a bullish position to test with. That's my general sentiment about ETH. I think that 5-year time horizon, you have all of Wall Street settling all their trades on ETH. It makes sense that demand for ETH goes up as both a universal collateral and a gas token. And I think L2's changed the calculus a little bit, but not as much as people think. So when I think long-term time horizon, 5-10 years, I'm
But
bullish.
this is a weekly competition, so you went against the grain a little bit, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. When I opened the position, the price was 1,700 and the sentiment was real bad. People were feeling like the sky was falling. Solana DeFi had accumulated like 50% market share. People were really freaking out about like what ETH could be useful for. But I don't know. I've been interested in Solana. I've tried Solana. I still don't think it's where actual serious institutions will settle their trades in the future. So I wasn't really freaked out about that. I was excited about Pectra, which everyone seems to forget about until it arrived, basically, like the day of. And so that was kind of my sentiment, but it was certainly, we're not talking about a very quantitative evidence-backed trade, right? It's just generally how I feel. And
Can
yeah,
we have a look at that position? Yeah, I think if the price had reverted or gone down, it would have been a different story. It would maybe at the bottom. But yes, this was definitely directional trade, allowed you to earn on the way up. This is a yearly option, so definitely kind of allowing you to tap into that progressive payout, because having this is a weekly competition. If you traded the same position on a weekly basis, it would have been out of range with capital losses. Here, you still have a lot of headway, but yeah, definitely on the similar to the best trades. So this is 14% in 52 weeks, which is very directional, earning a tiny bit of fees, but most of it comes from price action. And yeah, this is a so would you change that position or roll it, or how do you feel about this? Because at some point, I don't know if you would hit 4K, but you would get diminishing returns. But yeah, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's a good question. Definitely, we're right at the place where delta is almost linear, right? We've moved a little beyond it. So in terms of like whether this reflects my price sentiment anymore, I think 3K could happen, but it's not like assured. So would I reposition to try to state a preference of a target price of 3K? I don't think I would. But I would maybe move this up a little bit more. Maybe like 2,800, 2,700 feels realistic in the near term.
Yeah, because your initial the strike, if you think about it, is your price target. So you were 2080 when the price was 1800. So you were definitely above and kind of directional. This moved quite a bit more than your strike, so that's kind of very good. But as you say, the even though it's a yearly option, the fact that it worked kind of so well so fast, at least my trading like methods would be, let's secure that win, let's maybe redeploy a strategy that is updated perhaps, or maybe more accurate with the current sentiments. We don't see 40% increase. I mean, I don't know if it's yeah, we don't see 40% increases often. Happened once, maybe it's a yearly occurrence. It happened now, so it's a good time to reevaluate. So yeah, and would you stay in the yearly time scale, or you would be a bit more kind of aggressive on the monthly? Because yearly you have $1.36 of premium, and it could have been maybe twice or three times that, I would say, monthly. But yeah,
you're definitely right on the time scale. I have historically been in the yearly time scales just because, right, I've got a lot going on at work, as and so it's like I don't have time to manage these positions. But the difference, it feels like, between keeping a 1 year versus a 1 month in range is really, really marginal. You're talking about never touching it versus touching it, like once a month, but with the markets we've seen lately, like actually even less frequently. So I think I would be happy to move into the monthly, maybe even the weekly. I think what would maybe make a difference for me would be like a pretty robust notification system, that would kind of, I don't want to hand things over to programmatic management entirely, but getting notifications about whether my positions are in range would make it a lot easier to react and kind of reopen.
this is interesting. Yeah, the The monthly and yearly timescale allows some buffer in terms of management. Again, you can even like not look at your portfolio for a day or two, and that's fine. Yeah, the notification is also a good way. But one thing that we've also gone with Rosely is that uh, if you cannot be on top of a position every day, then yeah, the way to say it is that the you should be in a position where you're comfortable with not knowing. And that means that if you want to be on top of a position every day, you can trade the weekly or the daily, but then be prepared to do this. But if you're in a week, monthly, or even yearly, you size your position and also create a trade, which is never going to put you in trouble unless there's a even 50% would not make you liquidatable type of way. So that's kind of the 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 notifications will could even make you overreact and act in a very very short time scale when it's a yearly or monthly time scale. So again, part of the trading kind of ethos is that there's a time scale, respect the time scale, respect your assumption, and even if there's a reversal in the assumption, which is I thought was bullish, it went down, trust it within that time scale to realize itself. But yes, I would say that the notification is something we could certainly ship, but the peace of mind comes from positioning and sizing your position in a way that is not going to put you in trouble type of way.
Yeah.
But because you probably are fairly, and maybe you can go to the market info on top, but I don't know if you get liquidated or you have a liquidation price, but the risk tab on market info, go up and then the right market info, we can see when you get liquidated. And that might be your mental stop as saying, okay, 10% off of that might mean I need to adjust. But yeah, risk analysis will tell you. But and yeah.
Yeah, I've got a good bit of wiggle room.
Exactly. 847 is your liquidation price. And even then, you could get liquidated but lose a tiny bit. So it's only when you get to, could be 800, 600, 500 that it's damaging. But yeah, so that's another scenario. Knowing your price at which you have to worry, and also have a mental stop by saying, okay, if I see the price go too much, then I would reach out and kind of maybe close that position. But yeah, but this is good. Yeah, I mean, I think the outcome for this is very good. That's you deserve being in the third place because you're right directionally. You had a very good kind of management. You're still getting fees, I guess, and still getting exposed. But yeah, which is not what we can say about maybe other people that might have overtraded, might have been caught kind of in the tough spot. So yeah, this is very good. Congrats. So I'm sure you might be like, you have one trade, right? So would you add another trade or close this one, or what's your maybe the last few days? Do you want to do a more going all out, trying to seize the first prize, or kind of sit there and then sit tight and hope that the other people do maybe miss it?
I've been thinking about it. Yeah, I do think it's much easier to hurt yourself with too many trades than vice versa. You know, I have a bias towards inaction as a trader. I try to only trade when I have conviction. So I think one interesting aspect could be to, if I care much about third versus first, I could try like a much more bullish strategy, right? I could try to buy calls or even reconstruct the perp or something. But then we're talking about being bullish on a 3-day time scale. And I don't know if I have any particular evidence that ETH is going to moon in the next 3 days. So I like this position, long story short. I could consider maybe either closing the position or locking in some gains with like a counterfactual trade, right? But I'm pretty happy with where I'm at.
Yeah, fantastic. Same as me. I'm confident with my own little portfolio that's neutral. I don't want to overextend myself, and I'm okay being the 47 or whatnot. I can live with myself. But yeah, very, very cool. So I unfortunately have to go, but yeah, I think Brendan and Steve can also go over other traders, other trades, and also maybe market sentiments. But yeah, for now, this was very cool to have you on board. So yeah, hopefully every week or every commission we'll have someone you can talk to. You being in our Slack channels helped. But yeah, for next week's, again, if you're part of the top, could be 10, but then you want to be on the show, yeah, we'll reach out on Discord. But yeah, we'll be happy to hear about people's experience as well.
Sweet. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Guillaume. Thanks, Steve. We appreciate your help. and you're being able to pick your brain here, I think is a very smart trade. I personally did a weekly option, and I'm well below you on the leaderboards. I think it went out of range even because it obviously did well because the price went up. LP positions are bullish, and so but then I didn't even know I was out of range for like the last couple of days. So you're still earning Streamia. I think it makes sense. You want to keep it open. Maybe you're expecting not too much to happen. Maybe the price will go up even a little bit over the weekend, and then you'll earn Streamia anyways. So I think it makes sense to keep that open there. Yeah, best of luck on keeping the leaderboard score.
Yeah, no, I've been pleased. I'm curious what you're going to do if you're out of range. Is your plan to reposition to like a higher strike in the same time scale, or what are you thinking?
Well, I'm with at this point, the contest is a couple days. And so just play it safe. I locked in, didn't really do any more trades. I think if you're already doing well, it makes sense to kind of play it safe because you don't know what's going on. Also, a lot of times with ETH deposits, people don't realize that their collateral, if it's margined in the risky asset, in this case ETH for this market, it means you're bullish, biased towards the bullish side if you collateralize partially or fully with the ETH side. So a lot of people are ETH. So I still have exposure to the ETH price there. If the price goes down, I'm going to be losing out to people who are going short the market. But the fun thing about Panoptic is you can go and spectate kind of each. You can go through and spectate each person, see who's bullish, who's bearish. You kind of see what needs to be done if you wanted to try to overtake. But at this point, it's kind of a play it safe for me, and we'll see what happens over the weekend. So who knows? Things might spin up. We might see a total reshifting, or maybe nothing will happen, and we'll kind of stay at the same here with this leaderboard.
That makes sense to me. Yeah, it looks like the kind of tiers of the P&Ls we're looking at from third to fourth is an 11% difference, which would be pretty hard to make up. But then even once you get to like eighth, you're under 20%. So yeah, I think to jump into the top three would probably require some pretty bold moves. Whereas if you're happy with your position, which sounds like you are, Brandon, sounds like you actually just want to treat this as a trading account and consolidate those gains.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like the Streamia and the LP fees probably aren't big enough to get you from, let's say, 34 to 45, for example. And so, as you rightly said, we really need a price movement of at least 0.5%. What would that? If you go all out and do 10x leverage, 0.5% would give you like a 5% increase. So we would probably need like a 1% move at least over the weekend.
Yeah,
for something like that. So betting against that basically, but who knows? We've seen worse happen on weekends.
Yeah, no, I would almost bet if you offered me a bet where like I had to pick the absolute value of the price movement over the weekend, I actually think I would probably pick like 3%. I think that's realistic, given like what we've seen the past couple of weeks.
I mean, but then the question is it up or down? Right?
Yeah, that's always the hard part.
So I didn't feel safe to sell any options at this point. So I'm kind of hands off. We can jump to the volume real quick. Leaderboard, we'll also pull this up. I think we have this fun graphic here. So here's the current standings. So one girl, I'm just a girl, is in the lead for the plushie and also $700 and 1,000,000 points. So not bad there. And then second place, I still don't know how to pronounce this. EshelTmax.eth. And then Nickel Alchemist in third. And we can quickly look at the stats here. So yeah, just over 100,000 volume, one girl. So doing a little mental math here, it costs 0.2% to open a trade on Panoptic, and it costs nothing to close the trade. So these are commission fees that basically go back to PLPs on the platform, including yourself. So when you open a position, you pay 0.2%, and you get a small portion of that proportionate to how much of the PLP funds you have. So basically, if we ignore the money you get back, one girl would have to spend anywhere between $100 and $200 to basically get this amount of volume. And so kind of a fun thing, you have to spend 100 and win $700. So definitely a no-brainer here. Great deal. We'll see if anything picks up here. Obviously at the last moment, so the contest doesn't end till Monday. So I would be that's where this notification system might come in handy. But you might have to check in on these leaderboards before the contest end date to make sure no one's overtaking you. But right now, at least the first two players have a good, healthy buffer, significant buffer against the third player. And then from the third and fourth, it's pretty close here. So we'll see what happens and who will win the massive plushie.
Nice. What cash value do you put on that, Brandon?
Oh, that guy's rare. Like seriously, like you can't find him in many places. But if you check Amazon, you might see the price.
No, it's impossible. Have you seen McDonald's is giving out Squishmallow toys now?
Yes, I actually just went yesterday, and there was a deal. So they have a new item called the McCrispy. I think it's like the McCrispy chicken strips or something.
Yeah.
And then if you buy that on mobile, you also get the Happy Meal. So I got like the little cat Squishmallow from McDonald's.
There you go. So you really won the competition either way.
This is technically not a Squishmallow. It's just it's actually like softer, I feel like, than Squishmallow. It's very plush fur. The beak is way bigger in person than it is on the online images. So I think you can kind of tell here it's gigantic beak. And it's more like a beanbag kind of feel. So Squishmallows are very soft and squishy. This is more like a very plush and heavyweight beanbaggy type. So
nice.
Hopefully one girl can win this prize, though. Rooting for he or her or they or them. But we'll see what happens in the last couple of days. So this was Options Hour. Welcome and thanks for joining us today, Steve, and then also Guillaume earlier. The base trading contest does end on Monday at 17 UTC, I believe. So be sure to monitor your trades, monitor your volume before then, over the weekend and on Monday, depending on your time zone. And then we'll announce the winners. There's lots of prizes. There's $5,000 prize pool, over 5 million in pips, and that's not even including the pips that you get from just trading and depositing and PLPing in the pips markets. I was also very happy to see. I guess we'll share maybe these tabs. Different markets, even the non-pips markets. And other pips markets have been picking up. So there's this Bitcoin USDC market has been seeing some activity with some trades. Once again, even though there's no option buyers here yet, this is unique about Panoptic. You can sell options and still make money. Nowhere else does that happen. So lots of option sellers in the Bitcoin market. Maybe we'll see this in a future trading competition. Let us know if you want Bitcoin options. And then we have a couple of other markets on base that people are making money even though there's no option buyers. And of course, if there are option buyers that can join anytime, they'll make even more than they would on Uniswap. So stay tuned for the contest conclusion and results and announcement next week. We'll have a live stream on Monday shortly before that contest ends, and then we'll announce the winners. So follow us on Twitter, Panoptic_XYZ. Any announcements on your end, Steve, or any advice you have for the traders and Panoptimists as we go through the weekend?
I think we hit a lot of the big points. I think it's really powerful to be able to earn Streamia while stating your price opinion or possibly going delta neutral like Guillaume does. So I guess that would be my advice would be, everyone has their own methodology for predicting price. So figure out your opinion, but then figure out the most efficient way to express that. It could be holding, but for most people, I suspect it would be even better to get that price exposure, but also either earn Streamia from selling or get a levered exposure to it by buying. So that's how I would model this. And, the competition is the competition. It ends Monday. But obviously, I think Panoptic's is a useful tool for doing this even beyond that. So hop in, try it out, and add it to your tools.
Awesome. Thanks for the advice. And it's not too late to join, even if you haven't yet and you're listening to this now. Top 50 get a prize. Last I checked, 50th place was in the negative. So all you have to do is not lose money.
And you earn PLP APY. So you're not doing anything, you can get a couple APY. Yeah.
That's right. So join in app.panoptic.xyz. You just have to change your wallet connector to Base. You can follow all the rules at our website, panoptic.xyz/blog. There's a big article detailing how to join and get started. But anyways, this has been Options Hour. We'll cue the music here. We'll see what this one does. But dates. Follow us on Twitter, Panoptic_XYZ. Join us on Discord if you have questions on trades. Steve, our fellow engineer here, will be happy to pick up and answer any questions you have there. So stay tuned for more.